Hey Nick, we need a tagline for the podcast.
No.
Real life opinions. Movie reviews told by fans and not critics.
Alright, so I'm excited. Not because Jeff and Laura aren't here, that's just happenstance. But that we are finally doing a comic book movie with Mike.
Oh yeah, that's right. You know what? I never thought about that. Well, technically, Ant-Man.
Oh right,
was,
yeah.
I mean, that's like.
But I mean, I was nice. Like this was my pick this week. I was nice. I didn't make Mike go MCU. But this right here, we are doing the 1987 classic Dolph Lundgren Punisher movie. I freaking love this movie.
I was not expecting much, and I remember watching it. I remember, this spawned from Rocky, Dolph Lundgren's career. I don't know what he did before that, so other than martial arts.
Yeah, nothing mainstream.
Yeah, and then he did this, and he did which came first, this or Masters? Universe? Because he was huge.
Masters was 88, I think.
Okay, because he was massive, huge, physically, and he's not that big here in this one.
Well, and it's funny because he is 6'4". So yeah, he's a big.
But I mean, he's a lean.
He is, he's not Ivan Drago in this movie.
Yeah, that's right.
But he knows he's a cheesy actor. He knows he does cheesy movies.
Yeah.
But he still character acts pretty well for that type of character. For that kind of actor.
Which is funny too, because as especially these guys, Stallone, I don't know if Arnie really developed, but
no.
Dolph Lundgren, Stallone, a lot of these guys got better when they got old.
Yes.
As far as acting. It wasn't progressive, because throughout the 80s they didn't call for acting. They wanted
action
bigger
movies
guns.
were all brainless back in the 80s.
Yeah. But then Dolph Lundgren has put out some pretty nice work as far as acting. Expendables is a pretty flashback nostalgia thing, but
I loved it because of that. Yeah.
But they put in these moments nowadays into these things, and I've seen them do some good stuff.
Well, like I was saying before we started this, this is the quintessential comic book movie before the universes came up, before the MCU, before the DCU. This was written like a comic book. This was acted like a comic book, which is not a compliment. And this was the action of a comic book.
And it wasn't comedy.
No.
I'm throwing that one in.
No, the only comedy in this movie is the homeless guy that helps him out.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it came from the right place. And,
yeah.
And I very much appreciate this more than most of the MCU stuff. I mean, this falls victim to the when I watched it rather than, because back then I was in awe. Now I'm sitting, that is classic 80s sound effects. That is, I mean...
Oh, they didn't break the bank with this movie.
No, I mean... but... I mean, the scenes, the story, it's all pretty solid outside of that. The actors, I don't know if there's a bad performance. Maybe this guy, but I don't know, they're not outstandingly bad.
Well, and he's supposed to be an old, back in the day actor, so he's a theater actor. So he's meant to be flamboyant, I guess, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dolph Lundgren, the thing with Dolph Lundgren is no matter how bad, and he's done a ton of bad movies, no matter how bad a movie he's done, he never accentuates a bad role. He doesn't like Nicolas Cage where you can hear in his voice, he's just nailing it in. Yeah. Whereas Dolph Lundgren has always had a voice fitting the role. He's never tried to be anything he's not. So
yeah. This is about the cheesiest part.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cute. A little bit cheesy, but not too over.
Yeah, basically you find out that this homeless guy is Dolph Lundgren's informant. So because he's always out in the street, he sees things, he hears things. And so he basically tells in exchange for booze on an RC, tells him where drug shipments are going to be or where gangs are going to be or things like that. And Dolph Lundgren, like, his costume is so bad that it's good.
I struggle with Dolph Lundgren with dark brunette hair.
Right?
Yeah. It's just like...
You always see him as blonde, and I don't even know if blonde is his natural hair color, but you always see him as blonde.
Yeah.
Because, like, Ivan Drago was, like, bleached blonde, so I don't think that was natural either. But maybe. But now he's pretty much gray, so, I mean, we don't know really what he was. But the majority of his career, he was blonde, so I guess that would probably be safe to assume he's blonde.
Yeah.
And the fact that, black looks so off on him, like, it looks like a dye job.
You ever in theater you'll okay, we need to darken up your beard, and then somebody will go home and get black and use their Grecian the beard dye stuff, and it's like, my God, dude, you're blonde, your complexion does not.
That's your biggest thing is your complexion.
Who is it? Steven Seagal. That's what it. Have you seen? You've seen him recently.
He went blonde.
Oh no, he dyes it jet black.
Oh yeah,
and it's so black it stands out.
He can't let go of the fact that he's A, missing hair, and B, he can't he can't get over the fact that he's finally old. He got fat too.
Yeah.
It's funny because I used to think I had black hair, and so I dyed my hair black once, and I'm like, nope, that didn't look good.
Well, even me, if I want to look a little younger on stage or whatever, I'll get a medium to light brown, and do it to my beard, and it looks much more natural than if I go. I'd never go black because nobody's black really, other than certain ethnicities. But I'm a dark brown hair.
Mm-hmm. And now I'm just even the dark on the top of my head is a dark gray now. I don't have any color left in my hair. I don't think so.
Mm. Is there any names in this other than we got the late great Lou Gossett Jr. I know Cory loves him. I love him too.
Yeah, he. There was a guy in the credits, and I totally forget the name now, and they said his name as someone, and so generally speaking, that's a big name, but I don't recognize the name to save my life. So
the bad guy. He's not like A-list pop, but I recognize him. He always plays a villain.
He looks like it, yeah.
Yeah.
Such an R-rated movie. I love it. There's gore. There's like unnecessary gore.
Unnecessary close-ups.
Yeah. But it's honestly, except for the scene where the dude gets shot with a harpoon through the windshield, that red was pretty bad for the blood. But everything else looked pretty decent.
Yeah, it's pretty.
So,
I mean, it's R-rated for the 80s, I guess.
This would be hard R for the 80s, but like I said, this would be 14A now.
Oh yeah.
Punisher Warzone was 20 times the gore of this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
But it was unnecessary. Like, I hated that movie. I just thought it was awful.
I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was as good as the Punishers we'd had. Now, again, I remember liking this, but I also got to say that it didn't hold up well for me. But it was beautiful in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I give it all that credit in the world.
No, you can't take away from the fact that this is still an 80s movie.
Yeah.
Like, an 80s movie, no 80s movie has held up, in my opinion. At least popcorn 80s movies, anyway. Have not held up, in my opinion.
That's a good question. That should be a list or an episode we do. Movies that hold up, and movies that did.
Yeah, like Breakfast Club held up. I mean, it was a little over stereotyped, like it was borderline 2-dimensional, but it still held up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking that too. I mean, dramas can. They have a better chance of holding up than actions or whatever.
No, and again, especially 80s. Like, 80s action is almost its own genre.
It really kind of is. I mean, I was watching an interview. I don't know what the guy's name is. He's on TMZ. He's a lawyer.
Okay.
Yeah. At the end of every TMZ, that's their catchphrase.
Oh, really?
I'm a lawyer. He's a real lawyer. So he does the TMZ thing and whatever.
Makes him credible.
But he sat down, did a long interview with Stallone and Schwarzenegger, talked about their old rivalries and how they've come around or whatever.
Last Action Hero, when Stallone plays Terminator 2 in the cardboard standee there.
Oh, yeah.
But he was excellent in that movie.
Yeah. More along the lines, the one question he asked is his 80s action. The Mount Rushmore is definitively Stallone and Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
Who are the other two?
I would say Lundgren.
I see.
Just because you've got Rocky 4, you've got The Punisher, you've got Master of the Universe, you've got I Come in Peace.
Soldier.
Universal Soldier was 90s, but that was 91, I think.
Oh, okay.
But
what about Kurt Russell?
Kurt Russell, probably the next one, actually.
I mean,
Snake Plissken.
Yeah, New York, LA.
Yeah.
Movies for sure. Like they weren't all action, but Soldier.
Arguably Steven Seagal, but
he was never talented per se.
No, and then same with Van Damme. Van Damme is in my top 3 personal 80s action, but to say he deserves the Mount Rushmore, no, I don't think so.
I remember really liking him as well. I think Lionheart was one of my favorite ones of his.
I found that on Tubi the other day.
Oh, okay.
And actually, then I was scrolling. It's on Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to watch it without ads this time again. Because I can probably quote that movie front to back, too. I watched the movie so many times as a kid. Death Warrant was another one I really enjoyed.
Was that the one where he played his own twin?
No, that was Double Team.
Double Team.
Death Warrant was one where he was in prison on the inside. That he was a cop or whatever. It was a really good movie. As far as those go. He had some great bad ones. So
and they had
Bloodsport, of course.
Well, put his name on the map there. But the popularity run. Now, that's the question. How do you judge it? Popularity, quality, or whatever. Like they said, Bruce Willis.
Well, remember, popularity is subjective.
So. Well, yeah, I know. But
Bruce Willis,
he did some good movies. He's a better dramatic actor.
Yeah, obviously Die Hard. Obviously, John McClane is, as a character, a Mount Rushmore character, for sure.
Yeah.
But Bruce Willis, I don't know, Hudson Hawk was great, but it wasn't an 80s action movie. It was just a heist movie.
Die Hard was the biggest thing. The biggest thing to tell him that he belongs on the action star. Die Hard,
But he's never really, when I think of action movies, I'll think of John McClane, but I won't think of Bruce Willis.
Yeah. That's the same thing. And then everybody else, back in the day, B movies were not such a bad thing to watch.
B movies were the thing. They weren't called B movies back then because those were the movies.
Well, and there's a lot of people that garnered fame from that.
Yeah.
They never made the A-list, but you look at them, they're I've seen a dozen movies.
Yeah.
They were good in this movie and that movie. And
that one Asian henchman with the really bad goatee. That's a henchman in almost every 80s action movie, so...
Yeah, or even, you get these, what's that, Snake, I can't remember what the hell it was. He was a daytime soap opera star, Lorenzo Lamas.
I know the name.
It was a snake character, and he would, every movie, because he did a lot of movies that way, and have a big tattoo of a snake, and he'd ride to a new town, and incidentally get mixed up and some crazy adventure.
As far as B movies go, late 90s, early 2000s, I'd say Casper Van Diem was really big for those.
Yeah.
Starship Troopers, things like that. So
the expectations for more out of him. I thought we would have seen more out of him.
Yeah.
And it just didn't really go. And same with. Who's the guy that did Carter? The flop, the fantasy flop. He was a young built guy, and he did Joe Carter, The Adventures, where he goes to the other planet and he left. You don't remember that one?
No,
I can't remember the name. It's something Carter.
Is that the one that that came out in the last like 20 years or whatever?
It's older, like it is 20 years ago, and it had CGI stuff.
Yeah.
Type,
Yeah. I know who you're talking
The
about.
Adventures of Joe Carr or whatever. Then he ended up going on. He was in Battleship. I think he was Rogue. Not Rogue. What's Rogue's boyfriend?
Iceman? Like, what's his name?
The French Canadian.
Ashton?
No. The character's.
Gambit?
Gambit. He played Gambit in something.
Well, in Origins Wolverine, that was Taylor Lautner. Not Lautner, Taylor Kirch.
Yeah.
Is that who that is?
I'm thinking that's who it might have been. So, that's driving me nuts. I gotta Google it.
And this is, and I can't remember if I said this during the podcast or not, but Lou Gossett Jr. in a movie where it is a cheese 80s movie is still as serious as a heart attack. Freaking love him.
I can't say enough about him. Just there's so many movies that I love with him.
Well, and he commands respect on the screen, no matter how cheesy his movie is. He commands respect and he gets it.
Yeah.
Like between obviously Officer and Gentleman, between was it Toy Soldiers he was in too?
Yeah.
I
love that.
That's a fantastic.
I love that.
I think we
movie.
should do that movie once. Actually, I love that movie.
That one.
Between Iron Eagle, he's amazing.
Yeah,
like absolutely amazing.
One of my wife and I.
One of my wives
is Digstown.
Oh yeah, I never watched it, but I know what you're talking about.
I got that on DVD.
Yeah.
I should go put it in your box. Yeah, that was the next thing. Like Officer and Gentleman was where I was introduced to him as a little kid. But.
Well, I mean that was '82, right? So that was a long time ago. So.
What's the name of that movie? God damn it! It's like it was a flop like Treasure Planet. It wasn't really a bad movie, but they didn't put enough into it, and it just didn't hit. It was bad timing, bad whatever. And I think it was Disney too.
It was. I always get that and Prince of Persia mixed up in my head.
John Carter. That's what it is.
Okay.
It's John Carter. That was the name of the movie.
That's what was popping in my head, but I kept second guessing myself.
Yeah,
so.
and it is Tyler Kitsch.
Okay.
Kitsch.
CH. SCH, yes. I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was destined. They were saying he was supposed to be the next big thing, and then John Carter kind of hobbled him, and then he just never really
hobbled the box office.
Yeah. Which I've seen a couple shows on that. It was just like, why? Why was it? It wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't great, but I don't know.
That's when Disney was really digging for its IPs, and they were awful. Some of them, like Prince of Persia, bombed so bad.
Oh yeah.
John Carter bombed so bad.
Yeah.
Lone Ranger bombed so bad. Yeah.
And I think, that's interesting you said that, because these bombed so bad. Like, I didn't think John Carter was as badly done as, like, say, the Lone Ranger. And Prince of Persia, that was just bland.
Well, and it's funny because they did their due diligence. They did the story. Yeah. They got top list actors, but they couldn't save the movie.
Yeah. Or were they reaching too far? Now that they're doing that shit all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But they get better quality,
production value,
money.
I think going back to this movie for a second. What I like about it is the moral dilemma that he faces throughout the movie. He has his own little soliloquy where he narrates about, is he justice in the world right now? And what I like is now all the crime boss's children have been kidnapped by the Yakuza, and now he has to save these children of his enemies. And so, it's a hard spot to be in for him. But
Yeah.
he's still got a heart because he had a family once and everything like that. So
that's interesting. I haven't. I love that take on the Frank Castle. He's Batman that kills. You know, in a rough comparison.
Yeah, I know. I see that. I see that.
And it's that dilemma. We've seen this is one of 4 versions of Punisher now in our lives, right?
Yeah.
So Warzone, the one with Jane Thomas, and then the Bernthal. So.
Yeah, I absolutely adored Bernthal's version. I will always have a special place in my heart for this movie. So Dolph Lundgren is my number 1, but Bernthal is a hard number 2, a solid number 2 for me.
I hope Disney's already putting him in a big movie, so I know he's already gonna fall.
Yeah, well,
him and Cox. The Marvel series.
The Netflix
for
series?
Netflix were the best thing Marvel has ever done.
Except for Iron Fist.
I didn't mind it, but I mean, I didn't see the hatred for it. But okay,
it was
sure
not great.
But the second season was a little preachy for Jesse or whatever that is.
Yeah, Danny Rand. I think that's the
Danny Rand was
character.
That.
Yeah,
everybody was bitching about whitewashing, but that was the comic.
Yeah.
That was what the whole point was,
So, you know that Sunil Kumar guy or whatever that's out there? I think he might have been the guy in Frozen Empire, the East Indian guy there.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, supposedly is being cast as Booster Gold.
Character, personality-wise, he's a little too, what's the word, submissive?
I just don't like him. I don't think anything he's done I haven't liked. So.
Well, I haven't. I like him as a character, but I haven't seen him in a movie that like really,
Well, that's fair.
Eternals was like.
But I mean, obviously, if he's going to be playing Booster Gold, there's going to be a James Gunn Booster Gold, no less. He's going to be silly anyway, because Booster Gold was always silly. Add to the fact the James Gunn factor. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to get into that because I am losing faith rapidly, and I didn't have a lot of faith to begin with.
I'm keeping away from the dirt sheets on it.
Yeah,
because it's same with honestly, like Deadpool Wolverine comes out not this weekend but next weekend.
Yeah,
I have seen the teaser trailer last year, and that's the only thing I've seen because I want to actually watch it and enjoy it for what it is. So
I've come to the conclusion, and outside of trailers and spoilers or whatever, I don't care. I mean, I just don't care because it's going to be what it's going to be. We know that the franchise is fucked up. They're digging and reaching, and they're not going to make any intelligent, cohesive storylines.
No,
because you can't with Deadpool. You can take nothing seriously and that sort of thing. So, I'll wait for streaming. It'll be what it is, and that's awesome.
I know I'll buy it because I know that's going to be a shut my brain off type movie for me. But I can't see Deadpool fitting in the MCU, and I really, 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 and I will get shot for this, want to see Wolverine get recast.
Well, I do too. I totally. I want to see a leaning more accurate, comic book accurate Wolverine.
Yeah, like
I don't want to
5'1", 5'2", like 200 pounds, like stocky, hairy motherfucker. Like
I'll go 5'6". Okay,
like everyone's talking about Daniel Radcliffe. I'm like, unless he puts on 150 pounds of muscle, no. Could he pull it off? Otherwise, probably.
My front runner is
because Radcliffe is short.
Yeah. My front runner is Edgerton.
Okay.
From Kingsman.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anybody that really appeals.
Well, see, and again, age is already too late, but I would have loved to see Carl Urban.
Too tall, though. But Carl Urban would be replacing Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Another tall...
Which is too bad that he's too tall, because he has got that little stocky build to him for his size.
Yeah.
And, like, you see him in The Boys there, and, he's...
Yeah. I love Carl Urban. I never saw him.
I've either loved him or hated him. I have no third direction. I never watched Dredd. because I didn't want
It
to.
was phenomenal. That was the best comic book movie ever made.
Okay.
In my mind.
I couldn't stand Doom. Doom was an awful. I didn't even get through it.
Yeah.
But there's other things he's done, like what's his name in The Boys and
Bones in Star Trek.
Yeah,
it's such a great iteration there.
And it's funny because I hate Star Trek with a passion.
Yeah.
But the Chris Pine movies were not bad.
Nerdy.
That's unattractive. Anyway,
I don't mind it. I like the muscular.
Yeah. Oh, and again, attractive.
Actually, female bodybuilding was really getting good traction in the late 80s, too.
Well, I think when Arnold... Because Pumping Iron came out in 79. And Arnold showed that, hey, wait a minute, bodybuilders has a following.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And then nobody thought women could do it, but then they started doing it. And yes, honestly, I have nothing against them. I think that's fantastic that they're willing to, you know,
it's
do that.
Flavor. It's everybody's flavor.
But it's not mine,
Or
so.
taste,
And it's always funny, like, you take, like, the Chynas in WWE there, like, total man build, and then Vince buys her a pair of boobs, and then it just looks weird.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, there's a lot of different variations of that, but I've always found that lean, muscular, attractive on women.
See, lean, muscular, I don't mind, but, like, bodybuild muscular, no.
No, yeah. When you get, like, to the female version of Miss Olympia, no, that's too much for me.
But, like, someone like Jillian Michaels, for example, had a smoking body. So,
who?
Jillian Michaels, the Biggest Loser. She had
yeah. She was, I think she was lean, a little small, but there's a few of them out there. Like, what's her name? Ronda Rousey, when she was at her peak.
She still had no chest, though.
Yeah, well, I'm an ass man, not a boob man, so.
I think she's not much of an ass either, to be honest. I don't know. I didn't think her build. She had a very androgynous build, to me.
Yeah, but I guess one could say that. Yeah.
That chick who knocked her out there had a better build than she did. That Holly.
Well, she was leaner, though.
Yeah.
So. Keep in mind, like as a kid, me and Norm, we used to take supplements and worked out a lot. And we followed Schwarzenegger and his career, and I could go through the Rachel McClish and Karina Everson, how the female bodybuilders went down, and we were right into that sort of stuff. So,
meanwhile, the Punisher just shot up an underground casino, and it was amazing.
What's his name? And then Lou Gossett Jr.'s got an interesting wardrobe.
Is that a Reebok? I think that says Reebok. I think that's a Reebok.
Is it Reebok? Okay, so
flight jacket
placement.
Yeah, that's Reebok.
It is Reebok. Yeah. Okay, total product placement there.
Such an 80s jacket.
Yeah. Hey, see any other movies recently? I've actually kind of watched a lot of movies lately, and did you see the new Axel Foley?
Not yet.
I would recommend it.
I actually want to. I do.
Yeah.
So I haven't yet, but
I know there's some people complaining about a friend of mine. You know who you are, Kurt.
Subtle.
Actually, I like Kurt a lot. In joke, but we have a very polarizing opinion. He was complaining about how he thought the new Beverly Hills Cop. Oh, nobody wants to see an old guy. Blah blah. Well, the story goes there. You can't see a young one anymore.
Eddie Murphy looks fantastic for his age.
Oh, I
Judge Reinhold does not.
He was my favorite character though, because he actually he kind of had this weird kind of Mickey Rourke look to him. He looked badass in it, like a weathered old. I've been beat the shit out of my life.
Well, that's funny because you take him in Gremlins, and then you take him in Beverly Hills Cop, the originals, And you take him in, like, so many things, he never changed. It's like Ageless
Fast
Wonder.
Times
Even in
at Ridgemont High.
Santa Claus, he looked the same.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now, he looks like you said, beat to shit.
Yeah.
Like,
It really fit the type of character, you know, with Taggart and all those
Yeah.
things. It had everybody. It was great.
did they stick another banana in a tailpipe, though?
No.
Oh.
Not that I remember. But no, it was good. I watched If. I said that in my mind, but the fact that it came out on Paramount so quick, and I thought, okay, I watch it's a kids movie, right?
Yeah.
I don't have any real event. It was kind of neat, and it had a nice twist to it, but it was like.
I don't have Paramount, in all fairness, so yeah.
Had super huge number of cameo voices.
Well,
you know.
Krasinski was the main guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was the main guy.
Yeah.
Well, no, Reynolds is the main guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Krasinski's was. There's a few things in there, like I didn't get the point to or whatever, but you know, it's kind of fun. It was more about, you know, it was less about kids and more about grown-ups trying to remember their imaginary.
Yeah.
You know,
That was the only part that sparked my interest, but the more I saw about it, the more I'm like, eh. But I'm sure I'll watch it. Some way, somehow. Like I said, I'm not about to get Paramount. Although, so we'll talk about my movie box later, but somebody had put in there Mission Impossible 1, 2, and 3 in a box thing. And I'm like, dude, I love these movies. Like, I am unashamedly a Tom Cruise fan.
I am too.
And either way, so I was watching those movies, and I forgot how much I love those movies. And I was like, you know, I want to watch more, but they're all on Paramount Plus because they're Paramount movies.
Yeah.
And I'm not about to get Paramount. So I found, and I gotta look today, on Amazon, they have the box set up to this last one that just came out, Dead Reckoning, for only $39 on Blu-ray. So I'm probably going to buy it because I have a $25 Amazon gift card burning a hole in my pocket. So I'm probably going to get that. And then right now, Dead Reckoning Part 1 is only $15 on Blu-ray.
Okay.
So that's $55 for 6 movies. Is not bad.
Yeah.
So
I didn't mind it all. Like some of the critics shit on it a bit, but I thought it was a pretty strong half of a movie, which is what it was.
I never got it. That's
one.
the only one I haven't seen, actually, is Dead Reckoning, so Part 1. And then, considering it flopped so bad, they're like, oh, God, are they going to make a Part 2? But they have to make a Part 2.
Yeah.
But whether they make any more, although Tom Cruise is like, I will play Ethan Hunt until I die. So there'll be like an 80-year-old Ethan Hunt suspended from air. And
I'm pretty sure that either Tom Cruise is literally going to live forever, or else he'll die on a film.
Yeah, because he still does his own stunts.
Yeah, he's still doing his own stunts. I don't know if he's ever stepped aside and say, no, you can do this one. I'm not feeling it.
I've seen a couple movies where I'm like, I guarantee he didn't do that stunt.
Yeah.
But everything else. Like, he learned how to ride a bike. Rock of Ages, he took singing lessons.
Yeah.
Like, he's the most non-character actor I know. Like, he doesn't, with the exception of, like, the joke that is Len Grossman, he doesn't change his weight for a role, and even then that was padding. But, like, he's not a Russell Crowe or Christian Bale, but he immerses into his characters.
Yeah, he really has that, what do you call that? He emotes so incredibly well. And he understands the emotions and whatever. But every movie is that face, that body.
Yeah.
You know, and like you say, with the exception of Grossman and you know, silliness or whatever. Oh, he was in Top Gun. No, not Top Gun.
Yes, he was.
Yeah! You know that? Both of them turns out.
Weird.
No, Young Guns. He was in Young Guns. But
really?
Nobody knows it because he was hanging around the set for a few weeks because he's doing some other films. And he said, I always wanted to be in a Western. So they got him all gussied up and killed him in one of the scenes.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that would have been around the time of Cocktail, if I could think correctly.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Because Cocktail was, I think, 86, and then Young Guns is probably around that time, too, so...
Yeah. I'm afraid to Google it because
because I'll be wrong anyway, so it's fine. Honestly, Cocktail is probably one of my favorite movies of his. It's one I grew up with the most.
we drive a lot of movies here because I love Cocktail.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like Brian Brown though too. I like Brian Brown. He was underrated.
Oh, he was his co-star in that one?
Yeah, he was his buddy, yeah. Remember FX?
Yeah.
That was him and Brian Dennehy.
Yes,
yeah.
That's right too. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Which I always thought Brian Brown, Brian Dennehy, but yeah. And one was spelled with a Y, one was spelled with an I. So.
Oh, okay. He was Australian.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Get back to the movie a little bit. I mean, it's he's being stretched out on this modern rack. He's in pretty decent shape. He's not Drago at all.
No, he's not that defined, but he's still slender. So, and he still could fucking bench press me. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. This movie is like I'm going into this thinking this is going to be the most brutal of all, nostalgia bait that I know of and whatever, and it's going to be. But realistically, I didn't mind the story. The story's the story. It creates a nice dilemma. I got to save the children of my enemies, and we get in this. Right now, he's on the rack and his informant's on the rack. Does he save his informant? And, and that sort of thing. There's a weird, very interesting scene coming up. I gotta remember when we see it.
It's a good thing he's not ticklish.
Yeah, no doubt. So, no, it's not a bad movie. You could take this script and modernize it without too much change other than better sound quality and film and not do too bad with it.
No, really. And that's why I think this movie holds up for the most part. Like I said, it's not... cheesy's not the right word. As much as it's 80s action, cheesy's not the right word. It's just, I guess, only because of the scenery is it's dated. So
define cheesy.
It's cheesy because some of the lines are a little over the top. Some of the enunciation of said lines are. I mean, the thing with Dolph Lundgren is everyone forgets he's Swedish, right?
Yeah.
So he only really came to America, I think, in the early '80s, and so the fact that he can pull off an American accent so well. Yeah. But there are times, anytime, at least in my opinion, when you have an actor who's not of native tongue, you can always kind of tell in their voice that they're over-accentuating it. Yeah.
Okay, why is he wearing stilettos?
I think the chick took hers off and set them down, and he probably just to embarrass him more, I guess, so.
Okay,
it's definitely an unnecessary / possibly a cutting room floor thing, but...
So cheesy, by Google definition, is cheap, unpleasant, or blatantly inauthentic.
And see, that's, like I said, the over-accentuated lines.
The one-liners, the typical one-liners of the 80s.
Yeah.
You
Which there wasn't too many one-liners for an 80s action movie. There was cheesy dialogue, but there wasn't cheesy one. Like, there wasn't no Schwarzenegger where he had a pun for something. Like, there was none of that at all. Yeah. So... And... Again, Lou Gossett Jr., as serious as a heart attack. This chick here reminds me so much of Nancy Allen. It's not even funny.
Nancy Allen from...
RoboCop.
RoboCop?
Yeah.
I was thinking that too, but she's like quite unmemorable.
Yeah.
Movie. She's... What's the point of her? Her point is to be there so that he could give needed exposition. That's the only need. And, well, let's make her a chick so she's pretty and... Yeah. What's the definition of schlocky?
Ha.
CKY. Me and Jeff got in an argument in the street, like one of the first couple podcasts, and he was defining something as schlocky. And I'm going, no, there was no comedy to it at all. And he says, well, schlocky's not comedy. And I'm going, well, I think it is comedy. I think, and we never found a common ground.
Whether it's comedy or not, it's comedic. But is it a comedy? No.
Well, he was referring to something that wasn't a comedy, and that's where I was getting lost. And I still haven't really got what his definition is, which is an ongoing thing with Jeff and I.
Sorry, this is awesome.
Is learning how he defines things.
If you left your arms down, that wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah. He gets over that real quick, though. I was just like,
Yeah, so they're trying to make a deal now. The fathers are supposed to be paying up the Yakuza to get their kids back, and then you find out it's just a setup, and she was planning on killing them anyway, so...
I've noticed that of you. You have certain word definitions that are, I will say, unique to the common person. And it's just, and I find it absolutely fascinating. Yakuza. And I've never heard anybody say that before. It's the Yakuza.
Oh.
I'm by no means poking fun because you say.
I'm pretty sure in this movie they say Yakuza.
Okay.
And that's my extent of knowing Japanese mafia. So.
What is it called when somebody is one of those drawings of somebody that are goofy and exact?
Oh no, I always screw that up. I'm not even going to do it.
You know, caricature?
Yeah.
Or something like that? Yeah.
Caricature is what I say. Yeah.
Yeah. And you got half a dozen words that I notice every now and then.
And then actually, back in the day when I was a kid, I always thought the word graffiti was graffiti.
Okay.
So when the freaking Ron Howard movie came out, American Graffiti, and Richard Dreyfuss there, I'm like, American Graffiti. I was certain I was right.
See, it always makes me wonder, people that grow up in Alberta. You're in Alberta. Oh, no, you're
I'm a Saskatchewan boy. I didn't move to Alberta till I was 18. So
yeah, is there a big difference? There's little differences.
There is a lot more redneck because there was farmers in Alberta or Saskatchewan. There's rednecks in Alberta. Yes, there's still farmers in Alberta, absolutely, but the rednecks far outweigh them. So, and I'm not a redneck. Like Jeff is a redneck. I am in I can't watch redneck movies, things except for the Jeff Foxworthy stuff where it's funny in doses. But Shorzy, fucking
I couldn't get into that.
No, Fubar, any of that shit I can't get into.
I got into Fubar because of Logan. He and I understand, I kind of got into the story of it, and it's not my take.
Letterkenny, that's another one.
Letterkenny,
yeah. I guess I'm too white collar in the end. I've worked in management my entire working career for the most. As soon as I was a retail assistant manager at 19 years old. I am now pushing 45. So
yeah, it's funny. I'm born in New Brunswick, moved here when I was 11, but it's just go get a job on the oil rigs, go get a job doing pipeline, go do the oil stuff.
My 15-year-old yesterday said when he turns 18, he's either going to get a Staples-like job, full-time job, because he's so fucking smart with computers, or he wants to work in the patch to get money. He's already said it, so.
Oh, okay. I mean, I always encourage Logan, whatever you want to do in life, spend a heartbeat of your life into the blue-collar world. Take a couple jobs, learn what it's like to be a physical labor type person. And
I should have.
And then it just gives you a perspective, right? Because it's easy for me to say, white-collar people, they're all fragile and weak and blah, 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 blah. And it's wrong to think
Which I am not, but I am also very unknowledged in a lot of blue-collar things. I respect it 100%, but if I go to do something, I will fuck it up every chance I can get. You should see the paint job I did on my truck. I ruined my truck. But anyway. Yeah.
Oh.
I had a scuff on the side, so I sprayed over it with touch-up, spray paint. Okay. But then now it looks terrible, so I'm going to spray the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
And then I put some clear coat on, and it looks like shit. So I'm
but it runs good.
Yeah. I'm going to start saving up to see if I can get it scraped down and professionally done.
Yeah, they might just...
And then my kid dented my bumper, loading up my trailer, right above where the ball hitches, the actual chrome bumper.
Oh, okay.
We thought it was down on the ball, so he went to back up because we thought it was it, and the hitch on the trailer drove right into my bumper. So
Oh,
I've got a solid. I mean, it's only like the size of the ball, but
Yeah.
solid dent in the back of my bumper now. So, which again, I don't care. I'm
How
not
long have you had the truck?
2 years.
Ooh.
It was brand new too.
Okay, that would
So,
be a little heartbreaking.
It was
Yeah.
because it was actually my 15-year-old. I got him to do the backing up because I wanted him to do it.
Okay.
So I took full responsibility because he's 15. He didn't know better.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I said to him, like, you know what, shit happens, now you know, type thing. So that's how you learn. Like, if you would have, like, absolutely destroyed the bumper, I'd been more upset. But I told him, ease on the gas. And, like, every kid the first time, because this is his first time behind the wheel, every kid, first time on the gas, boom, whether they mean to or not.
So let me get this straight. You took your 15-year-old kid the first time and told him to pack up to the trailer?
Yeah.
Well, now that we understand that, a little perspective is important.
So, back to the movie. He has stolen a bus and has gathered the children now. He's got past the gangsters. Now, the gangsters are, of course, fighting back, but he's getting through. But, and this guy just somehow gets on board.
Elvis-y look to him, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to draw this books.
The hair doesn't help.
Yeah.
And the sideburns.
And it's just like, is that intentional makeup on his cheeks or just bad shadow effect?
I think that was a scuff, but the beard
The
is
bump-
totally makeup. It's not stubble.
It's totally, but it's...
Yeah.
Are they trying to use it as stubble?
Yes.
Okay, so it's bad makeup.
Yes.
So this, everybody shits on the first two Thor movies. And the first Thor movie, the worst thing about that movie was the makeup on Hemsworth. And it's that bad. It's the same level of bad as this.
Yeah, because he hadn't quite developed his beard yet, so...
Well, he's a darker haired guy.
Yeah.
And they just it's like they frosted the tips
Yeah.
of his beard. And his hair is like, oh my god, that looks like shit.
It's funny, because then he grew into the beard. It looked amazing, but then you never think of Thor with a beard, so... Like, comic book-wise, so...
Well, yeah, it was... Aquaman too, right?
I don't even want to start about Aquaman.
Through the later versions, like, Momoa was not the visual version of it, but through the later comic books, as he became King of Atlantis, yeah, he grew a beard and he had a...
But there's a lot of books that came out inspired by the looks of the DCEU. Like, Brian Azzarello's Joker was a total made after Heath Ledger, because he had the scars and everything like that.
Oh, yeah.
That was never heard of with Joker before. And then all of a sudden they make this movie, and this book is like so serious, but it's like it's a very serious Joker story, but he looks just like Heath Ledger's Joker. So
yeah, no, I know the movie spawned like the Marvel comic books are now heavily derivative of the movies.
100%.
But I know in the first couple phases there was young adults complaining that the comic books didn't know anything because they weren't even close to Marvel accuracy because they were thinking movies, not whatever. So he plays the character well. He really does, Lundgren.
Well, he's got stoic down to a science.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, like bad movies, not all the time, but usually it's not the actor's fault. It's somewhere up the line. Most cases.
It either is or it isn't. There's no third direction.
Yeah, I mean, what's the worst movie with the best actors in there? You know, it's like, what's Anthony Hopkins' worst movie?
Thor.
Was it a bad movie, or did you just not like it?
He was just bad in it.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, no, that's always the question, right?
He wasn't bad in Thor. He was too good to be in Thor, in my opinion.
Well, see, I think he did a phenomenal job playing a character he shouldn't have played.
Yeah.
In that situation, like Anthony Hopkins, what is he, like 5'8"?
Yeah, he's not
and
that
then
big,
they
no.
have to make him this imposing god and blah blah blah. And I admire.
Sounds like you just narrowed down Heath Ledger right there.
What's that?
The way you described Anthony Hopkins in that.
What do you mean?
Did a fantastic job of the character that he wasn't meant to play or whatever. How you said that?
I see. You and I we disagree on the Heath Ledger thing.
Yeah, well,
we do.
I will fight my thing to the end.
Okay, and I'll also say that Jack Nicholson is the most overrated. And see, I didn't like him because he didn't have the physical.
That's true.
The
Joker was lean and
always been presented as
There's no way you'd think a guy of that stature could be that powerful.
Again, Jack Nicholson is an amazing actor. He did what he does, and he did the best he could do for a character he wasn't built for.
Like, in my definition of what made Jack Nicholson, in my opinion, the best Joker, was not how he looked in any way, shape, or form. In any way, shape, or form. It was how he was written. He did the acid dive. Yeah. He created the smiling gas that killed people. He, did the parade thing with the balloons. Like that. There's so much of that out of the comics. So,
but that, and again, like I respect somebody that wants to live vicariously from the source material, but I think Burton did such a great job pulling the comic book out of that, in that, but I still think that we're trapped into this world where we want the comic book and we don't.
I think honestly that's a Gen X thing. I think everybody.
I don't want the comic book though. Well, I mean,
I'm generalizing, obviously,
yeah.
But like millennials and on, they're like, oh hey, this is a new look. This is cool. Millennials love Heath Ledger, but I was fond of the comics. So when Nicholson came out and embodied the comics, I was like, yes, this is my Joker. And then Ledger came out, and I'm like, this is in no way the Joker.
And I was the opposite. I was just like...
Because that Joker was an anarchist. The Joker was not an anarchist. He was a psychopath. That's two totally different mindsets.
Well, that's right. But the Joker took iterations throughout the decades in the comic books even.
Yeah.
I mean, who wrote your Jack Nicholson, from the comic books that you recognize? And who wrote? Are you going off some of the 70s stuff you might have picked up in the 90s, or is
I definitely I own a reprint of Batman #1.
Yeah.
Detective Comics #1, whatever, or what wasn't #1? It was like number 10 or something. It was weird.
Yeah,
it was the first one. So so I own that, and then I own a copy of Batman #1 1941 in a reprint. It's not
Yeah.
But again, that's who I saw for sure. And then, like I said, when they started turning the Joker into the anarchist more, that seemed to be after Ledger came out.
Well,
because he was always a psychopath. He was always a gang leader, and that's why. Take away the looks of Jared Leto. Jared Leto's Joker was a great Joker. I'm big about the acid bath. I just that's such a defining thing.
I'm not. I know what toxic spider. Oh come on, let's get real. Let's find a radioactive toxic.
Yeah,
I want to move on.
But even the scene where they bust Joker out of Arkham in Suicide Squad, the gang that he has, the dressed up in the pandas and all that, they really did a good job with Joker and his gang. When he got into the club and he was Pimp Daddy Joker, that kind of sucked. But again, Jared Leto was probably my second favorite iteration of the Joker. Yeah. Again, not physically.
Same with me. This whole grill and all that.
If they would have done the backstory that they claimed they were doing, I would have been okay with it. The fact that Batman knocked his teeth out for killing Jason Todd, and that's why he had the girl.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's neat. But it didn't sound like that was anywhere near in Snyder's plans.
Yeah.
So he wanted it instead made an evil Superman. So
one of the things that I love about Nolan's Batman trilogy is it's not really comic accurate.
No, it's grounded. It is
grounded, and I loved it for that aspect.
Yes.
Now
it is. I don't consider The Dark Knight a comic book movie. I consider it a crime action movie.
but it's still based. So you have, I mean, it's, and this is what pisses me off is like, why are we so focused on the Marvelverse and the Marvel shit when we know stuff like that is successful? We know we can put out stuff like that. Like the whole Marvel universe was chasing that on an economic. If we can get to the status economically of sales of Dark Knight or one of those, then that's the pinnacle of everything. And they didn't do it until the last 2 or 3 movies,
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, I get the purists that want to have that comic. The 80s comics I read consistently in the 80s and the 90s weren't goofy. They weren't silly. The Civil War was a dark story.
Yeah.
And there was no comedy in it. Batman was not. Batman was losing his sons.
There was
his
never comedy in a Batman comic back then.
Well, exactly. And even Superman was going through some dark times in the 80s and the 90s.
I think what I really like in Batman comics is his inner monologue, how they change the font and they make it kind of jagged and everything.
Yeah.
That was always cool. I've always been a villain guy though, so that's why I am a Joker fan. I'm a Venom fan. When they made Venom an anti-hero, I got pissed off.
Oh yeah.
He was just a better villain in my opinion. So
you were probably initially in love with Jason Todd.
Until
they corrected him.
Yeah.
Oh no, we gotta make him.
Same with I really enjoyed Hush. I love how they did that character.
I think they should have left Jason Todd as the Frank Castle of DC.
Yeah.
They totally should have, but, it's just like politics of comics.
But, the whole Riddler thing, spoiler with Hush, that was, wow. That blew me away.
Yeah, I love that one, too.
Court of Owls was neat.
I really like that one. I want to see that come to cinematically, but it's got to be part of a bigger picture. We got to have the Bat family involved.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the thing now. Gunn is doing Brave and Bold, which is going to have... That
was a schlocky cartoon.
Well, I don't know why he picked that name either, but he wants to get into the fact that he's got... I don't know if they're doing Damian Wayne or if they're doing Tim Drake.
I've heard they're doing Damian.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Yeah. Because I thought they were going to go Tim Drake, but...
He's my favorite Robin.
Which one, Tim or Damian?
Tim.
Okay.
Tim. Dick Grayson is my favorite Bat Family character, though.
He's a great character.
But as Nightwing, I watched him grow up, in lifetime. In comics, go from Robin into Nightwing, Disco Nightwing into whatever, and Tim Drake. I always loved him because he was that intellectual type, and he was the detective. The Batman in some comics is Dick Grayson could easily take out Batman. He used to say if he was smarter, physically, he had the acrobats and the physicality to take out Batman.
Well, I mean, the student became the teacher, right?
Yeah.
There's an argument to this day that Dick Grayson is a better fighter than Batman. He's a better whatever. He's just Batman. I don't know. They never really explained why he's so smart, but except for I guess life experiences.
Batman.
But
why is anybody so smart?
No.
Why is Tony Stark so smart? Born that way, typically.
Well, he grew up with a smart dad, and he grew up with Whereas Thomas Wayne was just a millionaire. So.
I think you're born with an IQ. And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So, and this is the greatest comic book argument I like. I want to have with somebody. Everybody says, "Well, Tony Stark would beat Batman because he's smarter." Okay, let's think about that for a moment.
Street smarts versus book smarts, though.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's if Tony Stark is a IQ of what, 220?
I don't know.
Picking Batman's got an IQ of 211 or whatever.
Yeah.
So when Stark, we both have this IQ. Stark found the tech. He went through this tech and he went that way. He found psychology in this, and street and all this stuff. So you can't.
And he was smart enough to outsource his tech.
Yes, and it's just like you can't compare intelligence in that
No,
world.
they're not comparable.
Completely different.
And Tony Stark is not a Street Fighter in any way, shape, or form.
Yes, even if you take 10 years of whatever he did.
Yeah,
it's not going to compare to the obsessive compulsive.
Yeah, well, the League of Shadows or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So this movie's winding down. What's it called? Totally forgot his name for a second there. Frank Castle. Holy crap. Getting old and forgetful. Anyway, Frank Castle's teamed up with the head mafia guy so they can save his son, the mafia guy's son, by the lady who is in charge of them. I'm going to say it again, Yakuza. And this is a pretty climactic part of the movie. Arguably, the first climax is when he gets caught, Frank Castle.
Yeah.
And then this is like the big... Because like every good, if you take the arc of storytelling, the main climax always is followed by the denouement, right? So this is the main climax. So
yeah. I noticed the bad guys wearing acid wash.
Right?
Oh yeah,
and all the bad guy bosses have the slicked hair.
Yes, that's how you can tell. Westerns, it was the white hat and the black hat.
Yeah.
In 80s action, it's slicked back or not.
Yeah, if you were a mafia, you had slicked back hair. That's just what it is. So apparently that's my new calling.
Oh, who belongs on the Mount Rushmore of action? I guess if you're stuck with the 80s, but I would have to put Chuck Norris on it.
Yeah.
He's more 70s, but Chuck Norris was,
Yeah, well, I mean, then there's an argument for Charles Bronson, too, but...
yeah, that's true.
But Chuck Norris is still a legend to this day, whereas Bronson... I'd say most Gen Zs, or Zs, or whatever you want to call them, do not know who Charles Bronson is.
Yeah.
And it didn't help that, coincidentally, Bruce Willis did the remake of Death Wish.
Yeah, that was not right.
It was a fun movie. I love revenge flicks with it's one of my favorite movie types. So it was a good revenge flick, but I did not associate it with the original at all.
That we talk about it every second or third podcast, but I think there's a lot of movies out there that they're trying to cash in on name because of that. And
it could have been named anything else, but with the exception of The Equalizer. The Equalizer was a very respectful, well-done remake and retelling and whatever.
Who was in the original?
I don't remember.
Okay, it's not... Okay, Denzel was the remake.
Yes.
Okay.
And then there's that Queen Latifah TV show that... whatever, right? Yeah. But no, the Denzel Washington movies were actually really well done. So I don't think they did a disservice to the originals at all. So
yeah. See, I liked the Roadhouse remake, but it wasn't the Roadhouse.
Yeah, see?
I wish they would have renamed that, and that would have been a good one. I'm trying to remember what else, but it's just like they're so often doing that. We won't get into Fall Guy.
No, so we did that already.
Yeah.
You're talking earlier about the sound effects. A freaking punch in this sounds so bad.
I know. It's just like...
It's like...
Yes. It's like they stole the sound effects from the Kung Fu movies in the 70s and just didn't change.
And then Power Rangers stole it after that.
Yeah, no doubt.
I like it shows like Frank Castle is mainly a street fighter. So he's facing off against these guys who are martial arts trained and he's not winning, but he uses his street smarts to beat them. So
yeah. And yet Dolph Lundgren is a world champion martial arts.
Dolph Lundgren is a freaking intelligent man.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's smart too.
Yeah. Holy man, the shit that guy has doctorates in and everything, like...
Smart, good looking, and tough. Oh, okay.
This is probably the only movie, maybe I Come in Peace, I consider him rugged. He was always more...
I don't remember that one.
I was the bad guy, like aliens have been shot little CDs looking thing out of the shooter in his wrist there.
Was that a B-rate?
Yeah, it was like a horror, kind of sci-fi, kind of...
He ended up in the series of the Universal Soldier, too.
Freaking Universal Soldier was amazing. But that was, for me,
Yeah.
that was like a nerd's dream come true because, again, I grew up a Van Damme fan.
Yeah.
I grew up a Lundgren fan. Boom, they're together in a movie. I'm like, oh my God. I had like magazines about that movie. I had it on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, like...
I was growing up a little bit beyond that, but that was like the first Universal Soldier was good.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's literally it.
Yeah, but mind you,
X amount of years later, they did bring back the two of them.
Oh yeah,
but it was terrible.
Yeah. Although I do say, it just reminds me, one of my favorite movies was Soldier, the Kurt Russell.
I would say, wasn't that Kurt Russell?
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And
I never watched it, but I know of it. So.
And the guy that played Bruce Lee in the Bruce Lee story, I can't remember his.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember his name. He did a few movies and kind of disappeared, but that was a great movie too.
So, yeah. Now we're really reaching it. The Punisher is taking on the right-hand chick who's like this mute American adopted by the Japanese there, who's ridiculously good fighter.
Yeah.
And then, so while Punisher's doing with him, the mafia guy is going after the head Japanese chick who's got the son, and it's just a great scene altogether.
It's fun. They do that. I mean,
It's the second time he's got a knife in his leg in this movie, so...
It's awfully coincidental, a lot. I'm almost surprised, like, I don't know who she is, but would you know who Cynthia Rothrock is?
I know the name. Why do I know the name?
She's a world champion, martial arts, karate, whatever, and she kind of came in through Chuck Norris.
Okay.
They were actually trying to bring her in for the last...
Snap.
He just broke her neck.
Yeah, well, she deserved it.
Expendables. They wanted to bring her in for the last Expendables.
You know what's really funny? I read this thing. I think it was after 2 came out, Expendables. Sandra Bullock had such a great time with Demolition Man. She became friends with Stallone. Yeah. And she's like, I want to be in your next Expendables movie. And he's like, no.
Well, she's not known for her action.
Yeah.
But,
like stuff like...
well, you got Speed and Miss Congeniality.
Well, Speed, but no, that one that
2.
came out where she's the author and Channing Tatum and her. And,
oh, the latest one. Yeah. That was kind of goofy.
That was fun.
Had Brad Pitt in it, too.
Yeah.
Oh, she was in Bullet Train, too.
Was she, too? Okay, I couldn't remember if she was. I wanted to say Bullet Train, but I didn't think so. I still haven't watched Bullet Train. I've been meaning to, and I never did, so...
It was one of those really fun movies that was so well done, and it wasn't muddled down with a bunch of garbage and shit and whatever. I mean, it is what it was, and it did well doing it. Did you kill yourself for your son? I'm not asking that because I don't know an answer.
Yeah. Did you ever watch?
No.
Did you ever watch The Mist? The movie, not the series.
Jane Thomas?
Yes,
Okay.
Thomas Jane, but yes.
Thomas Jane?
Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal. What's it called? Iteration of the story.
Okay. And Tom Welling too, isn't it?
No, that was The Fog.
Oh right.
But absolute phenomenal retelling of the book until the end, which everybody loved the end but me.
Oh, okay. They did something different?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can't remember specifically how the book ended per se, but in the movie, they're in a car and the mist is surrounding them. There's all the creatures on the outside. They're not going to make it. So the dad's got his gun, and so he's like, I need to do this. So he turns around and he kills his kid, shoots his kid. Because he doesn't want his kid to be killed by these monsters. And he'd rather him go instantly than tortured or whatever.
Okay.
Then he turns the gun on himself.
Yeah.
And he's out of bullets.
Oh.
And so now he has to live. And then seconds later, the mist lifts and the army comes. And
oh. Yeah. Heartbreaking.
Oh, it hurt me so much to watch that. So.
Yeah, it's got to say that that's a terrible pain, but I would think that's a good story told.
But I'm the guy who I would spend my last bullet fighting for my son. Not,
I would too.
Yeah. I get where he was coming from. I don't want my son to be subjected to this. Like, the kid was like 12 years old. Like, it hurt so bad to watch that. Yeah, and because of that, like, again, the movie was so good, but I have yet to watch it again because of that ending.
Yeah. The movie's so good that you can't watch it. It's so.
But Stephen King didn't write it that way, and again, I don't remember how he wrote it, but he didn't do that either way. And so everyone's like, "Oh, the movie's ending was better than the book," and that's kind of Stephen King's biggest gripe: is his movie endings are always awful. In fact, they say his book endings are always awful too. Yeah. Or not his movie endings, his book endings are always awful. And so when a movie comes and they rewrite the ending, a lot of times people are like, "Oh, that's better than the book." True, but I grew up with the book, and it goes back to the source material thing, and like that's why The Shining, the Jack Nicholson Shining, will always be a great movie, but missed the mark on being a faithful adaptation by a lot. But then the Steven Weber miniseries came out, and they covered a lot more of the book, but then you realize that some of the book doesn't translate well into that type of medium. Yeah. Like the hedge animals moving, that was in the book, happens in the show, and you're like, It doesn't do anything to add to it, so Kubrick was smart in not putting it in, but at the same time, it was a key part of the book, because it was whether he's losing his mind or not, so...
Who gets shot? Who got shot? They were so close, and he's gonna stand up. I hate this trope.
He's wearing armor, but it got him in the side. He kind of reminds me of Matthew Glave, the wedding singer, the one that Julia's gonna marry there.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I've watched that movie 1.25 times.
This ending is actually really powerful too, I think. So in the head boss, they kill the Japanese. The head boss, the mafia boss there, he gets his son, but then he's going to kill Castle anyway because he killed all his men and he's his enemy and everything like that. But then they struggle, they fight, and the bad guy gets killed. So all of a sudden the son's like, "Oh my God, my dad's dead." So he pulls a gun on Frank and he's like, "I'm going to kill you." And the line that Frank says is just haunting. He's like, "Good. Maybe if you pull the trigger now, you won't end up to be like him." And it's just, I freaking love that line.
I mean, it's a win-win, right? Either Frank gets out of his misery.
Yeah, because he's hurting.
Suffering.
So yeah. And the kid, it shows that you're not who your parents are.
Yeah.
So, the kid knew his dad was evil.
Yeah.
But he was still his dad. So, it's just, again, this movie's so underratedly good for being a cheesy 80s action movie. So.
I don't remember how well it did. Because I remember enjoying it a lot. I mean, but again, it was just like it was that sort of thing.
It's a really powerful ending, and it's like I said, and the moral of the story is you don't have to be your parents, right?
Yeah.
So, well, the moral of this story, this side story.
Yeah. That is true.
It's funny because it kind of makes me think of really, 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 really underground horror musical Repo the Genetic Opera.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of the moral in that story too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, the blood trail. Was it? I'm trying to think. Did Dolph Lundgren do a movie with Brandon Lee that they tried releasing after Brandon Lee's death?
Yes. I can't remember what it's called.
Laser something like that. It was a sci-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Brandon Lee was a good actor, but again, he's like one of those situations where they only became great because they died.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, he could have been, who knows? The Crow was so good at what
It was so good. So good.
And they should have burned that freaking laser thing, whatever it was. Start where we finish.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Anyway.
He didn't get a chance to prove himself, and I think I would love to have seen him have some. But it is what it is, and that movie is partly iconic because of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's so many, like, Heath Ledger was a good actor. He was a solid good actor, but I don't ever think he was a great actor, but everyone's like, oh, because he died. Oh, he was the best actor in the universe.
Argue that one,
I don't think he was. He
Brokeback Mountain, we'll go back, Brokeback Mountain, the Ledger, even, Parnassus was heading into that world, which was more Johnny Depp.
That was a fucked up movie.
It was,
But that was also, what's his name? Terry Gilliam, too. So.
Yes.
Yeah. I enjoyed that movie quite a bit, actually.
Yeah.
So
I think he.
But I don't go great. I'll say even very good, but I won't say great. I don't think he was great.
Yeah. Okay.
With the exception, I'll give him Brokeback. I never watch it, but I know what he did for that movie.
Yeah.
So I will give him great for that movie.
Talk about underrated people, and I don't even think that his death even helped him at all. But who the hell was Paul Walker, other than one set of movies?
Running Scared was amazing.
What's that one?
It's based on a graphic novel. It's a shoot 'em up cop movie, drug/undercover cop / It's absolutely outstanding. But it's very much a graphic novel movie. Like, remember how I said this is a comic book movie?
Yeah.
That is very much a graphic novel movie.
Okay.
Really well done. Really, like, F-bomb every second word, blood and guts every second scene. But it was a neat story.
See, everybody talks about Running Scared, and I know
Running Scared.
Billy Crystal.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a great movie.
Yeah.
I loved that movie.
No, maybe one day we'll do Running Scared. I think a lot of people need to see that movie. It's
which one?
Running, like the Paul Walker one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I think they should see the other one. I think the other one's a better one. What's his name? The black guy. Gregory Hines.
Ah, yes.
Known dancer and a known comedian come together and be cops in Bronx, New York.
I did, back when I was doing reviews for the newspaper, I did Poltergeist 1987 or whatever, 88 versus 2010.
Okay.
And because 2010 was so bad.
Oh, okay.
Like, so bad. Like, I'm pretty sure it's got like a 1.5 rating on IMDb. Like,
the first one fucked me up.
It's so good.
I was so scared. That fucking clown.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was.
And
so
all
good,
those skeletons at the end in the pool that are popping out when the mother's in the pool were all real skeletons they got from a morgue. They didn't actually prop them.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, there's a lot of things that happen in that movie that could argue that set was haunted. So,
yeah.
Great cast for that one too. Carolyn Williams, Craig T. Nelson. Obviously, the Heather Rourke story is tragic.
Yeah.
Actually, the daughter, Dana, the teenage daughter.
Yeah.
2 years after that movie, was shot and killed by her boyfriend.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She was only 16, I think. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, and then, like I said, the Heather O'Rourke, she just had an illness and she just dropped dead right after part 3 came out.
Yeah.
She was only 12 as well. So.
Yeah.
Lots of sadness surrounding those movies, but they're really well done. I mean, they got progressively worse as 2 and 3 came out, but they were still well done.
Yeah.
So,
I heard, talk about sad stories. Let's go into sad stories. Have you heard the one about All Dogs Go to Heaven? So, Burt Reynolds played the voice of the German Shepherd.
Yeah.
And I think it's Charlie and whatever.
Yeah,
and then,
it is. Yeah.
And there was the little girl who voiced the little girl in whatever.
Oh yeah, she died, didn't she?
And this
she was the voice of Littlefoot too, wasn't she?
I'm not too sure about that, but they had filmed this entire movie and they had it all done, except for the final scene that they did not voice it. It was filmed like it was cartoon, but it wasn't voiced.
Yeah.
And the little girl died. So when Burt Reynolds the final scene was the dog dying and going, all dogs go to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
So in the speech that Burt Reynolds was a goodbye to her, more so than it was to him. And it was a really, when you hear about that way, it's really...
Yeah, that's pretty... That movie was... Like, that movie made every kid cry.
Yeah.
Like, Don Bluth was amazing.
Who's Don Bluth?
He's the guy who created that. He created All Dogs Go to Heaven. He created... American Tail. He created all those type of movies back then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Always had Dom DeLuise in it for some reason.
Yeah.
I want to watch Cannonball again.
I got it. My son bought me that movie for last Christmas or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah. I was telling him all about it. I remember the race movies of the day. You know, Gumball
KJ,
Rally.
long time no see.
Yeah. There's 2 Cannonballs.
Yeah.
Death Race 2000.
I need to see that movie. I have not had a chance to see that movie.
Carradine.
Yeah.
And Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah. 1974, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Which is 2 years before Rocky. So.
Yeah, it was too.
That was the movie that everybody back in the day, and even I guess to this day, when you see a pedestrian, you're like, 10 points.
10 points.
That came from that, yeah. So.
Yeah. That was, it's like the seniors' home, the old folks' home, rolling out all the old seniors for him to hit.
Extra points,
points, and then he would swerve and take out the nurses instead.
Well, we should probably at least get into final thoughts.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't even know what time it is, but what's it called? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we started early so that we could get done early, and then
did it work?
Go to bed early.
Oh wow, it did work.
Yes, it did. Final thoughts. Oh, it was a movie that was not as bad as I expected it to be. It falls into that. It was like, what year was this?
87, 88.
87, 88.
Yeah.
God, it was like that slew of action movies and everything coming out. It was kind of a fun movie. I think the acting, well, let's say Dolph's acting was pretty solid. He plays the brooding dark guy pretty well.
Well, his ability to do monotone so well.
Yeah. I think the movie fell from its antiquated sound effects and stuff like that, and we don't have the schlocky whatever we argued about what schlocky means or cheesy. They're not like those anymore. So, but it was a fun movie. I remember enjoying it a lot more than I did this time, but for some reason I seem to respect the idea of what it was. So, I don't know. Where do we put it? That's a stupid question. We're going to talk about
where's your rating?
Yeah, where's my rating? If I'm rating it when I was 87, if it was 87, that would put me at 18.
Yeah.
If I was 18 years old, I'd probably rate it as a 7.5 or an 8. For excitement and subjectivity. I had no objectivity back then, but now
those were the days.
Now I look at this, and I respect for what it was, but it's a solid. Oh god, I don't like to shit on things for the sake of shitting on, but it's not a good movie, really. I mean, it was good in its day. It didn't age well, so I'm gonna go. I'll give it a 5. I'll give it a 5 for how it sits today with an objective mindset. They did the best they could the day they did, and although it doesn't hold up strong. There's still value in it. How's that sound?
Okay. And where it goes, we know that. We don't even need to say that.
Oh yeah, there's no question. Comic book or action?
Oh.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What time of year was it? Yeah.
It's a summer movie. Anyway. What's it called?
Punisher.
the movie was absolutely solid back then. The thing with me, like, you know how nostalgic I am.
Yeah.
I don't hide it. But part of the reason I'm so nostalgic, and it's an anxiety thing, but is I don't let go of the past. And that's really hand in hand. Nostalgia is people not letting go of the past. What's it called? So when I fell in love with something in the past, I watched the shit out of it to the point where it became my life. Mm-hmm. And so, like I said, I didn't watch this before tonight because I still have the movie committed to memory. Yeah. And because of that fact, I can't modernize my take. I still feel like a kid when I'm watching it. And I still feel like I did when I was a kid watching it. So I still feel like, again, it's one of the best comic book movies, and I made my definition earlier, that I've seen. Can you roll your eyes through it? Absolutely, and that's why I use the word cheesy. Mm-hmm. But the only thing about it that makes me roll my eyes is probably the dialogue. Which, again, based on a comic book, you don't generally, back then anyways, expect world-class writing.
And the sound of a punch.
Yeah. It was like that stereotypical Hollywood punch sound, which they're not even like punching skin, they'll be like punching a shirt and it'll make that sound. It's like, it was so bad. Yeah. But, so back, again, you kind of rated back then. Back then, for me, it would have been a solid 4.5 out of 5. Absolutely. Now, I'll give it a 3. I still really, really enjoy it. I will still continue to watch this movie every day. It recently was released on Blu-ray, so I have my copy of that now, so I can watch it more and more. I gave up my DVD copy, which found its way into some people I know's hands. Yeah. Again, I would say a solid 3 out of 5, unapologetically. Yeah.
It's important that people, like, you're not supposed to stop liking stuff you like. It changes what it is, right? I can go, there's stuff from the 80s that I love and I'll never not love. That doesn't mean I'm not going to objectively pull them apart for whatever's sake. But, I mean, it's your memories that make you who you are. Your life, your movies, your films, your existence. So, I mean, even though I might shit on something that you like, and that's not you, that's everybody out there, it means nothing that I shit on it or didn't like it. I mean,
again, subjective.
It is who we are. We love things that aren't objectively perfect and all that sort of thing. So, yeah.
So I'm going to take this opportunity to pimp out my movie box. So, all you people in cameras who are listening, if you haven't seen already, I have created, with the help of Jeff, he helped me build, he did probably most of the work, I'm not going to lie, and we have a movie box, like similar to those little libraries where you can leave a book, read a book, return a book, take a book, whatever it goes. I created a movie one, painted it blue and yellow, made the logo on the side that says Mini Blockbuster, and now this is a movie thing where you can go in, take out a movie, take it for the night, take it for the rest of your life. I don't care. It's literally just to get physical media back out there for people who really want to watch movies and don't want or can't afford to buy a movie, can't afford to get streaming. There's no video stores hardly at all anymore. So I'm doing this as a service to the community. I'm really excited for it. I said flat out in my post about it when I put it on Facebook that Real Life Opinions is backing this 100%. We want to get a bunch of them in cameras. It's super exciting.
I'm waiting for mine.
Yeah, good luck.
Hey, I was told that there was 3 being made, or 4. That Laura and I were both, and I'd have to paint it myself. That's what I was told.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Eventually. I think he said he actually finally found some boxes.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw my post about it, but the Camera's Man Shed, which is basically a bunch of retired old guys who like to do woodworking, have agreed to build me a bigger, better box.
Oh, they got a hold of you?
Yeah.
Did they get a hold of you?
I went to one of their meetings and everything. So.
Yeah, we did a fundraiser for them. Worked with them. They're, oh man, sit down and listen to those guys.
Oh yeah, I had a they had a big barbecue lunch at the museum there, and
Oh, yeah.
they invited me over, and I sat with them. And I think they think, and I'm not saying I'm not, but I think they think I'm joining them.
Yes, they always do that. They
Which
thought I was
is
too.
funny because I'm 45 and their youngest is probably 75.
Yeah.
So, and I don't have a woodworking bone in my body. So,
They
it's
need a
quite...
leader.
Yeah.
They had a younger guy. He was like in his 50s, and he passed away from a heart attack just like 3 or 4 years ago. And he was the one that led them. He created the
Yeah, actually,
social media.
they told me about
Yeah,
him,
and
actually,
it's sad. That
and actually on the box they build, they put a plaque, and it's like dedicated to him, and I have to put it on the box. I'm like, I will 100% do that for you.
Absolutely.
And then, like I said, I'll paint it. I said just build it raw, and I'll do all the hard work. Sorry. At least you laughed at that. People listening, it's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But they're actually going to do it almost double wide and two-sided.
Oh, okay.
So that's exciting.
See, I want mine. I'm gonna have one. I'm gonna have I want the adult section in the back. Yeah.
Were you serious about that?
Well, yeah, but I'm just gonna. They're gonna open it up. There's just gonna be a bunch of pictures of peaches and what are those? Eggplant.
Egg.
and in the middle, it'll say, "Did you really think?"
You sick bastard.
So don't spread the word on that one if I ever get one.
Yeah, so like I for anybody who's come to me, and I have people come to me asking if they could build one themselves, I said I'd like for you to continue the Mini Blockbuster name. I have a logo on file, put it on. I know like you were saying something about doing a movie gallery box. No, but I'm just saying that's cool because with me, Blockbuster was a big thing growing up. But for you, for example, let's say Movie Gallery was, that makes sense. And then like Jeff wanted to do the video store and cameras, which was our last video store that was opened here. And I think that's cool too. I want to get the Mini Blockbuster name out because, I mean, essentially, it was a funny thing because I stole the idea from a post I saw in Edmonton. So obviously it existed before. I said to Jeff, I'm like, hey, we should do this. And Jeff's like, well, actually, I was planning on doing that. So arguably, one of us came up with the idea first out of the two of us, but I don't know who. But we'll call it a group project.
Sure.
And so I'd like to see Mini Blockbuster out there, but if it ends up being like one Mini Blockbuster and all the rest of the video store, I support that too because I supported the owner of the old video store and he's a great guy and he meant a lot to this community. So that's cool too.
And his son played Randy in A Christmas Story in my production. With
there you
Logan.
go. See, so. But regardless, I want to see this get out there because physical media is not as dead as society makes you think. There are the odd person, like especially Gen Z, is very much digital media. Absolutely. And I'm Gen X, so I'm kind of balancing on old-fashioned and new age. So I believe in digital media. I do. But I love physical media. So this is my way of giving back to the physical community. Physical medium community. Yeah, so yeah, I am in Duggan Park.
You know, the hoarders of society.
Yeah. Oh, remember, I'm the one with like 400 and some Blu-rays, so yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know, I've been to your house.
Yeah. Speaking of, I need a bookshelf. If you have access to or know where I can get a 6-foot bookshelf, let me know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Check out Restores.
I did, but they're too expensive.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I got. What do you got going on?
Busy doing the Shakespeare, but the Shakespeare is a big thing. Shakespeare in the Park, that's at the end of August. We'll be over by the Grand Drive Gazebo, but then we're also moving into the Bailey Theatre. This is supported by the Camrose Arts Society and the City of Camrose. Thank you to everybody that's helped us out there. But also, on a more fun level, we have something coming up, the Gong Show, which is going to be fantastic fun. It's an 18+. We've got Ken Valgardson as a judge. Mr. Mayor, like not Mr. Mayor, but PJ Stasko.
Oh, really?
Our mayor has said, yes, advertise me. I will be a judge.
Sweet.
So we have 2 big judges there. We've got all sorts of different acts coming. We have 4 official acts. on the books, and the Riverjacks is the Gong Show band.
That's exciting.
And they've agreed to make a couple AI songs for us.
Really?
So we gotta. What we need to do is come up with some ideas. Make a song about this in this genre, about this, and they'll plug it into their AI program, and then have to sing it the way it is. So nothing but pure fun, and we're going to help raise some awareness and money for the Camrose and Area Animal Alliance Society, so that they can help take these poor animals off the street, so they don't have to sell their bodies for food. Win-win. Is that right? No, something
Maybe.
like that. Stay away from the Chinese restaurants.
I was totally going to say it. I didn't think I should. I'm very happy you said it, believe it or not.
Hey, that's what I got going on. So, cheers, everyone.
Yeah, have a good day. Thanks for listening. I think I am gone for the next week and a half, so I don't think I'll be here for next week. So have a blast without me.
Okay, so it's at Jeff's house.
Yeah.
This is our third time at my house.
Jeff's turn. Yeah.
Yeah, which is okay. I'm good with it.
Yeah.
My wife, on the other hand.
Thanks, Kathy.
Yeah. Alrighty then.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Is that it?